Hey everyone, it's Lee at Eating My Way Back, and as you can see, a little bit of a different surrounding today. I'm in the living room here on my Zafu, doing a little bit of meditation and reflecting. Today is March the 4th, 2015, and a year ago today I had my surgery, which changed my life. And I'm not talking about a gastric bypass surgery. I'm talking about total hysterectomy, and both the ovaries removed and the cervix as well, and a lot of cleanup of endometriosis that had built up over 17 years. And I do talk a lot about my surgery, as folks who've had gastric bypass surgery do, I suppose, because it really gave me a life back, and as of today, I have lost 148 pounds. That's our little cat, Douglas, that you hear there. I've lost 148 pounds, and I'm in a normal, healthy weight range, and going strong and kind of heading into that maintenance phase of weight loss. I have loose skin and reminders of the fact that I was once morbidly obese and very ill, but I'm really happy and proud of myself for doing the past year in a healthy way, in a positive way, and really making an effort to reconnect with myself and connect with myself and with my spirituality, and just with other people who are going through similar situations or corollary situations. It's been wonderful. I've recently become a Reiki practitioner. I'm working on my aura cleansing. I'm not sure if you know what that is, but that's for another video. But working on myself first, and then I'll begin one day working on other people. It's been a wonderful thing. You can see a few other little critters here who have been instrumental in my recovery as well. I wanted to talk a little bit today about not only reflecting on 12 months since the big surgery, but also about something I haven't talked much about, or sort of just alluded to, but not connected with what's happened and the me you see today, who is quite fit and quite active and healthy. Yes, I do have a history that included anorexia, bulimia, and basically nowadays they call it EDNOS, but it was an inability to stop eating large quantities without purging. So that said, it left my body pretty bruised, and I think probably contributed metabolically to the polycystic ovarian syndrome that I had, and that got me trapped into the cycle, which led ultimately last year to my disability and the need for surgery as soon as possible. And no matter what I did, no matter the inroads I would make with diet, with exercise, with activity, with just a healthy manner of everything, nothing worked. I would seem to get better for a while and be on a really good track, and then I would have a huge symptom dump, of the polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I would just spiral downwards, and it would get worse each time, and I couldn't manage my weight. I couldn't manage anything health-wise. I could never predict the health that I was going to be in. I was very ill all the time. I couldn't get enough blood, enough iron in my blood, and vitamins and minerals to absorb. So it was pretty miserable. So I'm just reflecting on how good it feels to be healthy. And sorry about the light. I'm not sure what's happening there. I'm going to check it. Okay, let's see. One second. See if we can bring the camera closer, maybe. There we go. I'll just sit here. So yeah, it's been quite a year, and as you can see, I'm in yoga gear because I can actually enjoy wearing fitness gear, and it fits me, it feels good, it feels better than just sweatpants and all those things that were all I had when I was so obese. And one of the things today that I just wanted to share was a wish of hope for all of you who deal with eating disorders, who deal with pelvic disorders, weight, obesity, struggles with fitness, really anything like that, addiction. I know that I've talked about the fiction of addiction, and what I mean by that isn't that addiction is fiction. What I mean is, in order to, I guess for me, I'm going to use a really kind of poor phrase, but to buy into the idea of surrendering to a higher power, I had to state that I was powerless against my addictive choice, my vice. And I actually disagree with that. It didn't work for me in an eating disorder recovery sense. Now, granted, I didn't have substance abuse issues or substance use issues. But I know a lot of programs nowadays are using that 12-step approach with eating disorders, and for me it was a real fiction, especially when you look at food addiction, which had become a problem for me, especially certain high-fat foods, high saturated fat foods, and carbohydrates like pasta. That was a real problem, and it was psychologically and physiologically something that I actually needed with the polycystic ovarian syndrome, but it was really becoming an issue, and I would say it had turned into an addiction. But given the fact that it wasn't an eating disorder, I consider it to be a pretty legitimate sort of look inside myself at what worked for me in terms of overcoming it. And quite honestly, perhaps it's unfair of me to say that it was purely an addiction that I was recovering from, because I was able to use tools from my recovery and being recovered from my eating disorders in order to very quickly move out of a food addiction pattern a year ago. Actually, it was less than a year ago. Subtract 6 weeks, because that was my recovery time from surgery, in which I actually had to make sure I ate a lot of protein in order to recover. So I just wanted to address that. Sorry, that's our little happy. I wanted to address that. For me, it was a fiction of addiction. I was not feeling like stating that I was powerless would assist me. I actually wanted to feel quite powerful, and I knew that I was powerful and that I could overcome it. And I am a spiritual person. I am a religious person. I don't talk about it a lot here or on my blog, but I am. And, that is part of the source, I guess you could say, of my strength. But it isn't the only way out for me. For me, it was logical thinking. And I'm a very A plus B equals C kind of thinker. So, I knew that calories in versus calories out, with the exception of the quality, sure, of calories. But the basic formula of calories in, calories out, upping the exercise when possible, lowering the intake of calories and saturated fat, monitoring that mixture, the perfect storm of exercise, diet, nutrition, sleep, and even I also include spirituality, because I feel like if you are not spiritually in a good place, none of the others matter, because it won't maintain once you reach your goal. A lot of self-love, a lot of patience, a lot of hugs for myself along the way, and just a huge support system. I don't mean I have tons of people in my life, but I have tons of support, namely from my wife, and I have a great doctor. I have great friends, but ultimately it comes here, for the beginning of it all. that's where it has to start. You have to want it, and you have to be ready. And the bigger questions, I think, that never get asked when people are asking me, you know, how did you do it? You know, it's not really the ladder that I climbed to get there. I think the bigger question is, how do you get yourself ready? What is it going to take for you to realize that here is not going to help you, and in many cases it could kill you? And I'm speaking as someone, you know, from a perspective as someone who's morbidly obese with elevated triglycerides, basically heading toward diabetes and heart disease in the next 5 years, if not sooner, and just careening off the path of healthy human being. And so the question is, what is your tipping point? And I think you have to either find one, or you have to push yourself over that tipping point, and that means stepping outside the comfort zone of either the food addiction or the bad habits, the denial. Denial is a huge one. You know, my family and support had tried to talk to me about saturated fat, and you know, there were certain food groups that I was eating, vegan food groups even, that were high in saturated fat, and you know, I just wasn't hearing it. I would talk about, you know, oh, in the past it was not about that, it was just about eating vegan or something like that. You know, I had every excuse in the book, and that is very typical of someone who's in an addiction pattern, I think. So I wanted to say hi. I'll stand up for you here in a second just to do the official 1 year look. And I'm wearing yoga pants. I'm usually in men's clothing, just so you know. I skew fairly male in that way in terms of fashion. Plus, I'm a very tall gal. I'm over 5'8". So, you know, it tends to work better on me. I have a long body, broad shoulders, so I usually wear men's clothing. But I've discovered female clothing actually does work for me now, that I'm in a normal weight range, normal clothing range. I can buy things off the rack now, and I don't mean the racks at, you know, the plus size stores. That's a huge topic for another vlog, because one of the things that I was so frustrated with was the poor quality, high cost, and poor choice of plus size clothing for women, especially for tall women, most especially, and for body types like mine, where I had lots of lymphedema in my legs and lots of fat around my arms, things like that. But everyone who's obese deals with that. There's some way that your body doesn't fit into the world, and your mind doesn't fit into the world. Everything, and you know, you're just dulled. You're oppressed by yourself, by the habits, you know. And this is a like I say, I'm bouncing around a little bit, but primarily I just wanted to say hi and thank you, and yay, 1 year. I'm here. I made it, and the goals that I had, I made. Like I say, I've lost 148 pounds, and don't really have that much left, I wouldn't say. It's going to change a little bit in the maintenance phase as my body sort of settles in, and that's for another blog as well. But I hope that you're being kind to yourself, and I hope that if today hasn't been what you wanted it to be, that tomorrow will be. And I encourage you to check out Reiki. I also encourage you to leave a comment below. Shoot me just a comment, a question, if there's anything that you would like to share. And also let me know what you think. I haven't done many of these. It's still a very, very new thing for me, and I hope to do more, but I would love to know what you might like to hear about from someone who is actively, successfly maintaining 100+ pound weight loss. So thanks so much. I'll continue to eat my way back to health. Again, it's Lee, and I hope you're doing well, and we'll see you next time. I'll stand up for you here so you can see. So this is me. This is the whole yoga pants thing. I'll walk over here for you. And so this is the after. And so there I am. That's kind of embarrassing. Bye.